Hello English students, this is Professor Green. I wanted to create this video to show you guys a little bit about how you should properly format your essays and to give you some tips and tricks on how to make your essays better and more well written. So to begin with, you want to make sure that your essays are clear and intentional. The writer should make sure that their writing is so well done and so clear that the reader knows exactly what they're writing about, knows exactly what their claims are, and there is absolutely no question as to what the objective of the essay is. So, when you're clear and intentional, your writing is going to become better, it's going to be more focused, and it should be more interesting to read. Now, the core of this is the thesis statement. The thesis statement is the guiding light in your essay. It is the rudder, it is the steering wheel, it is what guides your essay from point A to point B and makes sure that all of your points are made and that all of your support is leading towards whatever it is that your claim is. The thesis statement is comprised of two elements, your topic and your stance. Your thesis statement should clearly outline what your topic is, and then you should back it up with telling what your stance on that topic is. Everything in your introduction paragraph should be leading towards your thesis statement and should be supporting it. Everything in all of your body paragraphs should lead back and refer back to your thesis statement. And your conclusion should also refer back to your thesis statement, solidifying that your claim and your stance is the correct one. So, when you write, you want to make sure that you're clear and intentional, and you also want to make sure that you add in plenty of details. The more details you have in your essay, the better. How are you going to make sure that you have all these details? Well, when you first start writing your essay, you're going to want to make sure that you outline it well. When you start with your first idea for your essay, you're going to be gathering all the possibilities of what you can write about. And you're going to be brainstorming them and writing them down in whatever outline you want, whether it's a diagram, a bullet point outline, an idea chart, a flow chart, whatever it is. Outline every single idea that you have and write down every possibility that you could possibly write about. The more detail, the better. Once you have an outline of your essay, you're going to want to start your first draft. Now, your first draft's not going to be perfect, and nobody expects it to be. But the point is to write down all of your ideas, or at least the majority of your ideas, in your first rough draft. Once your essay has its first draft done, you can go back and look at it, and then you start the revision process. You're going to go back, and I suggest you write at least 1 to 2 more drafts before your final draft, but at least one. In this revision, you're going to start identifying which ideas are your best ideas, and if some of the ideas don't seem to make sense or are not as strong as you once thought they were, start cutting them out. There is no need to have them in your essay. You should have at least 3 strong main points in your essay that back up your thesis statement. More is better, but at least 3. And this way it ensures that your essay has at least 3 body paragraphs, because you want to be writing at least a 5-paragraph essay in any academic setting, unless a short essay is requested. Let's not go there right now. So when you revise your essay, you want to make sure to keep your best ideas in it. This may take you 1, 2, or 3 revision drafts to do. But once you're satisfied with the overall flow of your essay, then you're going to start editing your essay for grammar, punctuation, and little details here and there. Once you have revised and edited your essay, you want to complete the final draft. And that is going to be the best, most perfect draft of your essay. And that is the one that you want to turn in as your final product. So, to just summarize what I've said, you want to make sure that in your essays you are clear and intentional, have a good, clear thesis statement that outlines your claim and your stance, or your topic and your stance, which would be your claim. And you want to make sure that you outline all of your ideas, then revise your essay to have the best ideas contained in it, then edit that draft and create your final draft. And this should give you the best product of essay possible. So that's how you should write your essay. Now, what about what we should do in the essay? Well, there's a couple of things that many students do that they just should not. And I'm going to run through these tips quickly so that way you will hopefully not make these mistakes in your essay writing. The first thing that you should never do in your essay: never begin your essay by writing, "In this essay, I will be describing blah, 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 blah." Or, "In this essay, I will..." If you find yourself writing that, just stop. Don't go there. Also, don't write, "This essay is about." This signals way too hard. It tells the reader what you're doing. It's boring. It's elementary. And a lot of teachers will teach you this in elementary, middle school, maybe even high school, because they think that you have to have some way to start your essay. But this is a horrible way to start your essay if you're not in first grade, right? How you want to start your essay, instead of saying "in this essay," is you want to use a more stylized, a more creative approach to do the introduction of your essay. A couple of ways that you can do this is by telling a story or an anecdote that relates to your thesis statement. So that way you're leading up to the thesis statement in an interesting way. You can use a quote by a famous person that relates to your thesis statement or your topic. You can get right to the point just by discussing the issue at hand and then leading into the thesis statement. So there's a variety of ways that you can get there, but please never, ever, ever introduce your essay by saying, "In this essay, I will," or anything that's close to that. So, the next thing that you don't want to ever do is you don't want to put at the end of your essay, "In conclusion." The main reason for this is that when you state "in conclusion," it's pretty obvious. We should be able to tell by your writing and your styling that your essay is coming to an end. Your essay is about to conclude itself. So if you have written this essay well, there is absolutely no reason for the statement "in conclusion." It just becomes redundant. Same thing goes for "in summary." It's a redundant statement. It's not really needed. And your writing will be much more interesting without it. So in your conclusion statement, do not begin it by saying "in conclusion." Just get right to the conclusion statement. Many students may write something like, "In conclusion, the Antarctic penguin is one of the largest," yada, yada, yada. There's no reason to say "in conclusion." You can just say, "The Antarctic penguin is one of the largest," and then go on with your conclusion paragraph. So cut out "in conclusion," your essay will be better. Another one that's close to this also is the statement "in my opinion." Another one that's close to it is "I believe." There's really no purpose in most academic essays to say "in my opinion" or "I believe." And the reason for that is we already know that it's your opinion. We already know that it's what you believe, or else you would not be writing about it. Instead of saying "in my opinion" or "I believe," just say whatever statement it is that you want to go through or that you want to exhibit. As an example, when I talk to sports fans, they don't preface their like for a certain team or their dislike by saying "in my opinion" or "I believe." I've never heard anybody say, "In my opinion, the Dodgers are the best team," or "In my opinion, the Cowboys are awesome." No, they just say, "The Dodgers are the best team," or "The Cowboys are awesome, they're going to win it this year." Sports fans are adamant that their opinion is the correct opinion. Well, when you write your academic essay, you also want to be adamant that your opinion is the correct opinion, and then you're going to back it up with logic, with reasoning, with support, with quotes, etc. But there's no reason to say "in my opinion" or "I believe," because you can just state whatever it is, and we'll know that that's your belief or your opinion. We're not going to just automatically assume that it's a fact. So please cut out the statements "in my opinion" or "I believe" and just get right to your claim. Another thing that I want to make sure that you know in academic essays is not to use contractions. Contractions should never be used in academic essays because they are informal writing. Academic essays should be done in formal writing, which means that there is a formal tone to the paper. Contractions are fine for informal writing, like when you write dialogue or when you write a play or a scene with somebody, when you're talking to your friends face to face. But in an academic setting and in an academic essay, contractions should not be used because they're informal writing and academic essays should have a formal tone. Also, they weaken the writing. If I tell you, I will not go there, it's a much stronger statement than I won't go there. And that's just because will not gives a larger emphasis to the negative of it than won't. Do not do that is going to sound stronger than don't do that. I haven't done that. Or I have not done that. Which one sounds stronger? I believe it's the one that's not a contraction. That being said, there is some moments when you will have to use contractions in an academic essay and it is acceptable. If your contraction is part of a quote, a direct quote, it is acceptable to use that contraction in the essay because it's part of a quote and you have to directly quote whatever the other person said. That's acceptable. Also, if you're using a common saying or colloquialism, such as, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, it's okay to use a contraction because it would just sound too weird or too odd if you didn't use the contraction. Nobody says, do not count your chickens before they're hatched. It just sounds off and it doesn't match with the colloquialism. So it's okay to say, don't count your chickens before they're hatched, even though it's a contraction. But other than common sayings, colloquialisms, or direct quotes, do not use contractions in your academic essays. I hope that some of these tips will help you in your academic essays. If you follow this advice, it will make your writing stronger, it will make your writing better, and your academic essays are going to be more impactful and they're going to be stronger. And that's what we want. We want clear, focused, intentional writing in your essays. We want you to be able to outline, draft, revise, and edit a good final draft of your essay. We want to make sure that you cut out needless, worthless statements. Like in this essay, I'm going to, unnecessary. In conclusion, in summary, unnecessary. In my opinion, I believe, unnecessary. Cut those out and just get right to the statement, get right to whatever it is that you want to propose to the reader. The reader will appreciate it and it'll be less wordy and more interesting. Don't use contractions and make sure that your writing is interesting, full of detail, and gets right to the point so that way we can hear what you have to say, evaluate your opinions, evaluate your analysis, your stance and your claims, and enjoy reading your writing. Thank you.